Good evening and namaste. We are here again today. Today we have a mother, a teacher, a professor, and a psychologist, we can say, or a counselor who's working with different age groups. Martin Luther King has so truly quoted intelligence plus character. That is the goal of true education. Our guest tonight is truly a person who instills the above mentioned qualities in his students. Moushmi Debroy is an educator, a mother, a student facilitator, a professor, and a counselor at a junior college. With a postgraduate degree in zoology and a national scholarship recipient, she is a bibliophile. Apart from academics, she takes deep interest in heritage studies, classical languages, and wildlife. Of late, she has been really working on counseling, and yes, not to forget to mention, she has been counseling students, parents during pandemic day in and day out. Let's welcome Mashmi ma'am. Good evening, ma'am.
Namaste. Namaste and good evening to you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, ma'am. It's been long we met last.
Yes.
The topic for tonight is pandemic versus education, a hope to cope up and normalize. You being a mother, a teacher, a professor, and a counselor now, you have been seeing all these four faces, right? You've been a school teacher, you've been a professor, now you're a counselor, and not to forget, you are a mother first.
Yeah.
So, according to all the four roles that you play, what are your views, your opinion about pandemic versus education, a hope to cope up and normalize?
To start with, I must say, like if you consider me as individual with all different roles, as a mother, I would say, yeah, I'm happy at this moment. My kids are at home, but kids are not happy because for them, learning in the institution means something different. And also, since they're in college, so they are saying we are losing out all our internship programs, because many offers have been, they were selected and then they were turned down because they need it to be offline, which is at this moment it is not happening. And even for studies, sometimes they don't get satisfaction, they're not satisfied, it becomes a bit monotonous because at times they say that even all the faculties, even if you consider us also, me also, so we were not so tech savvy, neither we were so inclined with technology that all of a sudden when all the entire thing comes on us, we'll be very happy about it. So there was a considerable shift from um, offline to online. So sometimes, the lectures, especially, in colleges, they complain it becomes monotonous. We don't find interest. And also sometimes you can see that, there are technical glitches which keeps on happening. So even then, there are possibilities that they are removed from the classes, or even if it is connected, they're unable to hear. So many things are happening. So overall, students who still today they were used, or you could say even a year back, they were used to the offline mode. It's very difficult for them to cope up sitting at one places. It's really difficult. They're not much enjoying. But again, as a mother, what I see that my kids, they are doing different courses. So that time that they are getting out of it, that is important because the travel time is saved. They are at home. So, like food and other things. So they could also, there's no hurry that you have to take a lunch and run. So you can have your breakfast, aram se, during the lectures also. All these things also, that is definitely helping them to a certain extent, but more or less they are not so happy about it. If you say as a lecturer, yeah, we face the problem, yeah, because we have, like nowadays we are having the classes being merged, right? We have a lot of students, and to control the classes virtually it becomes difficult. There are again technicalities like the glitches keeps on happening, at the end of the student, at the end of the teacher, it keeps on happening. Especially, we are dealing with the students who are in the urban areas. Now you consider the students who are in the rural areas. Some of the parents, they have shifted to their native places, and in that cases they often say that there's no connectivity, we can't connect, we can't join in. Even they're not able to write papers. Sometimes the parents become very apprehensive. They say that kya padhai chal rahi hai, nothing is happening as such. So they say that it's okay if the child doesn't attend the lectures. Also, it's okay. So we do have this kind of issues also. We are facing this kind of issues also, right? And then another thing which I feel that because it's online, so we provide a lot of information to them. Okay, again, in that case, there is too much of information available at the end of the recipient, and they feel bored. They don't want to go through also, because they say that throughout the day we are in front of the screen. So if it is here at college, or if it is there for classes, wherever we are, so we are just online, and even the assignments that we're doing, we have to submit it online. Everything is online, so we are in front of the screen, so we don't want to do. Then there are problems like the data. We cannot expect each and every person is coming from the same financial threshold. So these are also the problems. So then there are problems of sharing the gadgets, and so many things are happening actually. In one house, if there are two siblings, then parent needs to afford at least two smartphones. Sometimes that is not possible. Then there is, if you consider Mumbai, and you understand there's a bunch of space, so again privacy is not there. Two siblings, maybe they're sitting in the same room with the teacher teaching them. So all these problems happen. So as a teacher, we often face this. We ask them the questions, they're not replying. Maybe they're there, not there in the meeting also. Okay, they could have entered and then they're not there, or sleeping, or there could be in reality certain issues because of the network that they're not able to join. So these are the things that we are definitely facing. These are the issues we're definitely facing. And as a counselor, if you would ask, then I would say that I have conducted workshops, and I understood that children are really stressed. They're quite depressed also, you could say, because there's an uncertainty looming. They don't know what to do, how to do, whether it's going to happen, whether it's not going to happen, how many chapters, what is the portion being excluded, and how the practicals would be. There are n number of questions. At times, even we are unable to answer, because unless and until we get a clear-cut instruction from the boards, the authorities, we cannot even tell them. So there's a lot of confusion. So this is the situation that I see as a mother lecturer as well as a counselor.
So, ma'am, during pandemic, how did you manage juggling between roles? Because you are carrying a very important role of a counselor too, right? And you have been counseling people during the hard times as well. So, how difficult was it for you to juggle between the roles?
Yeah, I will not tell it was difficult. It was a little bit challenging, but I was exploring. Yeah, I was exploring for a long time. I had an affinity to come to this sphere of counseling, and finally I could do it. And so, what I understand is it's not difficult. Like each day we have a set routine is set for me or for any one of us. And yeah, definitely switching on roles become a bit difficult. Even a 10 minutes break sometimes before switching roles, like in the morning you're a mother, you're making a breakfast and doing the daily chores and all, and then suddenly you become a professor, sit in front of the screen and start teaching the students. Yeah, it requires a little bit of a gap, but you could say that I'm more or less used to it. But yeah, definitely before counseling, I do try to take some break in between, and maybe for 5-10 minutes, sit and chant that whatever I'm doing for the good of the person in front of me, because again this is also an online procedure I'm doing. I can't see that person, right? So that I sit and chant, and then I connect. So it is okay for me. I'm quite happy. I don't feel so stressed.
So, ma'am, we were discussing once when we had our talk last time, we were
Yeah.
discussing that things are changing drastically, right? So, how do you see the future coming towards us for school,
It's
colleges, and yes, for a normalcy in life?
Yeah, this is a very difficult question. Future is always uncertain. But what I understand from from the nature of this pandemic that's going on, that it is, I don't think it's going to end this year itself. It is going to take some more time, and each one of us need to be mentally prepared for
Ma'am,
that,
why I asked
right?
you this
Because
question? Why I asked you this question? Because I know you are a zoology expert,
I'm
right?
not expert.
And
I was a student. Yeah,
of course, you are a postgraduate in zoology, so you are an expert in that,
no, no,
right?
no.
You did your postgraduate in zoology.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
like, not to mention, but yes, you have some knowledge about what viruses are and how it is and how it is going to go about. So, this is something, ma'am, we all are facing it together, all of us. So, how do we take things ahead? Because it's not easy, just staying inside and having the kids locked up in the four walls and telling them, no, you're not going out, and you have to stay away from your friends. It's very difficult.
Definitely,
So how do we
definitely.
cope up with
See, what I understand, as you mentioned, being a student of zoology, it is, that nature is trying to select. There is a phenomena we call as natural selection put forward by Darwin. That is, it is the survival of the fittest, right? And for that, there should be an awareness. That this awareness is what we were lacking, because once the first wave was it subsided, we all thought that okay, it's fine. We are once again back to normalcy. But we know that viruses, they're very, very contagious. And if we see this virus, it's RNA virus, and we call this as a retrovirus. That is, its genetic material is RNA. So for producing the protein, it invades into any living body, and then from our DNA machinery, it constructs the DNA, and then that DNA produces the RNA, and that RNA translates into the protein that the virus is producing. That's a toxin for us. Correct. So now viruses, and we also know that the treatment for viruses is not so easy. So what I wanted that, like now also, we can be very, very aware of it. Even we should make the children also very much aware of it, and what it is actually. So nothing to get really panicked or scared. If we do maintain the protocols, we can, to a large extent prevent this. But that's what didn't happen. People were very happy. They stopped using their mask. The parties were going on, marriages and everything, and where we forgot about the social distancing and everything, right? So that is what is very important. You have to understand its nature. It's not easy that it will be eradicated within a few days, especially because it has spread all over the world. And it is mutating, according to the different continents, different climatic conditions, it's continuously mutating. So that is why, we could, when the whole world crumbled during the first wave, nothing much happened to India, because there was a lot of restrictions and protocols that we were supposed to maintain, and then there was, a little bit loosening up, and that was also required. If you consider all the sections of the society, the entire section of the society, everyone is not well to do that sitting in the corner of the house and they can enjoy sitting here and working from home. For everyone, it is not possible. People have to go out. But if we consider everything, people need to go out, we need to go out, kids need to go out, everyone needs to go out, then we should be knowing how to protect ourselves, the hygiene that we used to follow. Like if I would mention, even when we were small, so whenever we used to come from outside, there was a compulsory thing that we need to wash off, hands, legs, and everything before we enter. Nowadays, we have all apartments. We don't have separate washrooms, not huge houses. So again, there is a greater chance of contamination. Previous days, if you recollect, we used to have everything separated off, and that was the reason why the washrooms, the kitchen, the bedrooms used to be so far off. It was quite scientific. But due to crunch of space, now we are limited to very constricted areas, and therefore we need to be very, very careful and cautious. Parents, children, teachers, everyone need to be cautious. You should be enforcing the protocols very strictly and strongly. So unless there is an awareness amongst the people, it's very difficult. However force you apply each time, however you put up the infrastructure, so it is not possible. You just see the number of doctors and the medical staff versus the population. It's a huge population. So first and foremost is the awareness that has to be created among the people, that now for now on you have to forget about all this hugging and all these ancient methods that we used to follow and were tagged as being primitive. You have to go back to that. If you remember, in our early days we never used to go and hug anyone, even our friends. Like, we used to go play everything, but now there's hugging and all. We have to put it aside. We can't help at this moment. Because and also gathering and all, so we have to maintain that distance, keep sanitizing ourselves, because we don't know how long we have to bear all these things. Probably maybe 1 or 2 more years we have to be with it. If we see the pandemic of 1900, it also spanned around for almost 2 years, I guess. Yeah, 2 years or 2.5 years. Yeah, but if you see that those days were different, isn't it? It did not spread much beyond that Europe. It didn't spread much beyond that, and in Europe it itself played a havoc, and it was again because of the Second World War, because the soldiers from all over the places, they were trooped here and there. So there was again, the virus got carried. That was the reason. And now, since we are a completely global citizen, so we cannot stop things, but we have to be very careful. People sometimes, they don't do the test, or they get somewhere they get the certificates that they are not affected, and then they enter the flight. And they should understand that what I'm doing something wrong for myself and also for the society. Unless we start understanding ourselves, we are not isolated organisms. We have to understand everything in totality. We cannot be like we are one, so I am safe, whatever I'm doing, it's okay, I know I'm not being infected, so I can do anything. No, it shouldn't be like that. We should take everything as a holistic thing, right? So we should take the best of our preparations. We should teach our children. We should encourage them, facilitate them. Even they can go down and they can play, definitely, but again, maintaining the distance, washing their hands, using sanitizers, not eating anywhere and everywhere, not touching anything and everything, how much possible we could. And if we do that, then definitely, the situation, I don't think, will be that gloomy. It will be a bit better. But again, given to the nature of the virus, they're very decisive. They deceive us almost. So still, but there could be a way out. And what I feel is that, there, whatever programs we are initiating or policies we are making, for the education sector, we should not make it for this semester and the next semester, or this year or that year. Now we should have some plans, backup plans, A, B, C. We should have, what if the normalcy is restored back? What if half normalcy is restored back? What if there is normalcy is not restored at all? Then what we should do? Because every time we are again sitting and thinking and planning, and that is making things very difficult, especially for the children. Speaking of,
Not
yeah,
only difficult, it's leaving the kids in a dark room where they don't know which way to go.
uncertainty, lot
There
of
is
uncertainty.
uncertainty. There is uncertainty, and there is no light, coming towards the kids that, okay, yes, for 10th, the kids prepared. Day and night they were working, right? They were studying, they were working, and now at the end, the exams are just cancelled. Now, to hopefully, let's see when 12th exams format is going to be introduced. So we are still, all of us are waiting for that. So I feel like what you said right now, that there should be a set of plans A, B, C, and D, so that the government and the kids, they are at ease. They don't have to just think about it. Ab kya hoga, because nobody knows this condition that right now we are in. It's 100% unpredictable.
True. Absolutely.
Ma'am, like we were talking about, like the plans A, B, and C. So, ma'am, according to you, right now, your kids, like both of them are grown up and hopefully in college, right? So, like you mentioned, that the kids are missing the college life. how about their education? What about their studies? How are they coping up with it? Because it's not, I know both the girls, they're very intelligent and they
Nice.
score pretty well. They score pretty well, that's also there. But, ma'am, how are they coping up with the online system of education?
As I told you, they are not at all happy with the system. And my girls, they are like going to school, college, and all that kind of a life they're very much used to, and that was the reason I couldn't put them for integrated. They didn't like those kind of programs. So they like all the fun that happens in the college, the programs, the extracurriculars, and all, and they do participate in everything, almost whatever they can, they do. So they are missing. Sometimes they feel very sad and depressed, and there's a lot of burnout. That is very, very important, because what happens from the teacher's end. We consider, their teachers consider that bacha, you are at home, you can do it. So all teachers considering bacha, you are at home and you can do it. It is very difficult for the bacha to do it, right? Because whichever is the task, irrespective of that. My daughter is in college, someone is in Mont, or someone is in primary, secondary, whatever. But at that level, if all the teachers consider that you are at home and you can do it, so there is a burnout. Burnout, two ways it's happening, both for the teachers as well as for the students. That's what I'm experiencing. They're damn tired, working till late, because there are a lot of submissions, that 11:59 is the deadline, and somehow I have to do. So there are many things, and since they're at home, so number of assignments also increasing, because the method of evaluation has also changed. So it's not the
So,
previous method that we're following.
ma'am, don't you think that by giving deadlines to the students for the, okay, deadline, giving deadlines is okay, right? But don't you think the increased assignments is again mounting pressure on the kids?
It is mounting. As far as my daughters are concerned, that's what I can say. When I come as a teacher, that what I do is like for the practicals, what I usually do during the summer vacation, I give the practicals for the next standard, like the students who are in 10th. So whatever practicals they have to do, whatever journals they have to write, I have already given. And I told you, take your time and you start doing it. Because at the end of the year, there shouldn't be any pressure. So I'm going to collect it in end of June. That's what I said. But surely they will not submit by end of June. But I ensure from my end that the dear students are not stressed. And now for the 12th, what I'm going to do, because we are going to meet them in June. So I'll see the vacations whenever the vacations, and the pattern has also changed for them. So they don't have much of work to do. So according to these vacations, I do design and give that you take this time, some 20 days, 25 days, and you do it. That's what I usually do. I don't like harassing the students. That's what I do.
Yeah,
But I
that
cannot
I'm
say
aware of.
for
That I'm
others.
aware of. You've always been a student's favorite
Yeah.
teacher. So, ma'am, like, what would you suggest your fellow professors, teachers, counselors? Like, counselors will come later on. Fellow professors and teachers, how should they? Because see, it's not that only teachers are under stress or pressure. It's the parents, it's the
Yes,
teachers, it's
yes.
the students,
Everyone.
right? So, ma'am, how do we, like, as parents and teachers, how do we, like, first I would talk about you suggesting, like, you suggesting your fellow teachers and professors, what should be their mode so that they are not stressed and the students are not stressed?
What I thought is, because last year also it was not that planned, it just came all the way along and we had to carry it along. So what I thought from this year, what I would do is, like, the parts which they have already studied, they know it. They need only a brushing. They don't need me actually. But there will be parts in which they will need me to explain. So what I want is that I will ask my students to make some presentations. In that way, what two things are going to happen? Reading from the textbook becomes monotonous at times, and sometimes we're not even able to understand. We don't want to go ahead with it because the pattern in which the textbooks are written, it's very boring. Even I don't want to go through the pages. It seems bapre kitna sara hai. I also start counting the pages. So definitely the students will also do that. They must be doing it. So what I would suggest, that if I just divide one topic, among some, say, 5 students, Okay, and the sixth part is what I'm going to explain. So I give them an overview and then I ask them to prepare. I give them time. I don't ever tell them, आज presentation दिया कल करना है. ऐसा नहीं. I never do that. At least 1 week's time I give. Okay, everything in advance. So I have already chalked out, like which are the topics that they can handle, which part of which topic they can handle, and I have also started putting the names of the students against it. So that I will try to do throughout the year. When they do some presentation, they learn by themselves. And I also tell them you abide by your syllabus. You don't have to give us extra information. If you want, you can, but you don't burden yourself. But whatever information is there in the book, that you just carry forward. Now, what you do in that, you actually learn. And I also tell them when you make a presentation, you don't write each and every point there. I mean, the entire sentence. So just jot down the points so that, that's a way of learning. You're doing some creative work, you are using some visuals, you are studying that, so you are spending some time on that particular topic, and that topic you have already done in previous classes, right? This is one way. The second, what I do follow, first, whenever I'm getting the syllabus, I will understand what is the time that I'm going to get. So I'm going to divide that time into the chapters. I take, like mixture of chapters sometimes. I usually start up with the easier ones, which is easy, students have already done, because all of a sudden, if I start with a chapter which is quite difficult for them, they never heard of it. So it becomes very difficult. They'll feel so bored. So I try to do that. Okay, smaller chapters. So they also think, okay, छोटे 5 chapter हो गए. So for them it is 5 chapters हो गए. वो छोटे chapter थे, they don't think like that. But if I take only 1 chapter and 1 month, then they feel अरे बाप रे इतने दिन में तो एक ही chapter हुआ. So that psychologically you have to play in a different way. And also, we as teachers, we should be organized first. We should know how much we are going to teach during this term, the next term, and the next term, and what is the duration. Like, make a proper plan how we are going to go ahead, which is the part you're going to allocate for the students to do a presentation, and you also encourage them. It's not that only we finding flaws. I do say, this is somewhere you could have done better, and this is how you could have done better. But nevertheless, you have given your best effort. So appreciating them, encouraging them, making them also do, so there could be a total interaction happening. Then, sometimes we conduct quiz also. We divide the class, then we conduct the quiz. Before, I used to do a lot offline because the rows were there. Now it is very difficult to conduct. So somehow we'll try to figure out how to divide them into groups and then conduct some, like quiz. So they find it interesting. They learn also. And this also helps us, it lessens the stress. Some way it lessens. I won't say completely, but yeah, to a certain extent. It could be lessened. That's what I would say. First, we have to figure out for ourselves how we're going to carry the syllabus ahead, how we're going to finish it on time so that we can also revise. This is very important for us. First, we have to.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much for giving this. I'm sorry I won't be able to come on screen because there is a sudden power cut here.
Okay, no issues.
I have to switch off the camera. But ma'am, we've discussed about teachers' point of view. Now, as a parent, what would you suggest the parents? Because parents at times, we are very apprehensive that, oh, the child is doing so much and there is so much of tension, so much of things going on. Will the child be able to do it or not? So what would you suggest the parents, being a parent, what would you suggest them that should be?
We are having 2 kinds of parents. Okay, 2 or 3 you could say. Some parents will be very happy the child is engaged throughout the day. They'll be very happy. Some parents will say, yeah, my child is doing a lot of work. And some parents, on the other hand, they'll be even extreme. They'll say, this online padhai kuch hoti hi nahi hai. There's nothing happening. So don't do only. So there are situations we have to also make the parents aware. Online बहुत पढ़ाई हो रही है. Maybe we are not able to give you the offline feel and the offline mode of education, the offline mode of examination. Yeah, the presence of the teacher in the class, the presence of the students in front of the teacher, the eye-to-eye contact. These all we are missing on. I agree and accept, because online mein everything, we cannot force anything, right? But at the same time also, nothing stops. Education definitely cannot stop because of anything. It will go on. So yeah, the students, they sometimes they would be telling, we have a lot to do. Yeah, so you could sit with the students. Sometimes, we don't do the work on time also, and then, when it piles up, 2 3 assignments come together, we start telling, my goodness, so much has come on my way. Yeah, so for the parents, especially when the child is in the junior classes, so you could keep an eye that such mein kuch aaya at the end moment, or it has been given, because I don't think none of the teachers or the institutes will prefer burdening the students, especially in this situation. But still, if it ever happens, then you could also always talk with the teacher, explain, and also explain to the child that, like, this is now the mode that we have to carry forward, and what are your issues, what issues you are facing. So if you can find out, if the parent can find it from the child, can share it with the school, even the school can look into it, the institution can look into it. If there is something, reasonable, then definitely something, some other plan could be given to the students also. So I don't think that, the students at any point of time would be burdened. But yeah, if you talk about the class 2, because of the entrances and all these things, they are burdens. Time is very less, a lot of syllabus. We really, even in the offline mode also, we can't help much those students. So that is the time that the parents have to encourage the students for some planning. And what I suggest to all my students is that, see, life will go on. There will be added responsibilities from every sphere, every time. So when we cannot change the environment, what we can do is to change ourselves. We have to find out ways to cope with it. So give some time for yourself. That will be your me time. So you won't encourage anyone and anything else. That is the time you spend with yourself. You could practice some hobby, you could meditate, you could even just look out of the windows, gaze out. Even that could help. And also, for the students and the parents, as well as for the teachers, it's very important we sit, we reflect, and we also experience what we are going through. That is also very important. So if we are able to do it, I think we can, to a certain extent, happily manage the situations. That's what I.
So you're 100% hopeful that things are going to be normalized, and so are all of us. But it
Yes,
might take a little bit of time. But yes, things
definitely.
are going to change, and
Sure.
they will change.
Yeah.
Right, ma'am. There have been instances where teachers have really been so upset that, like, even after, I would not say upset, but we can say that teachers are also under stress,
Not.
right? So,
Yeah.
what strategies would you suggest the teachers, being a counselor, what strategies would you suggest the teachers to follow to ease their tension and their stress levels?
This is really a very important thing, because the teachers, we are really, really stressed out. We are burned out. Actually, we are burned out. Because shifting one mood, since birth, you are used to a particular mood. And all of a sudden, you find yourself landing up into a different place. It's almost an alien land for us. To transfer whatever things we have online, to search out, to find the videos, to find the links, to find the PDFs, to create, to make documents, and presentations, and do things are not easy, because any teacher is not a teacher in isolation. Could be a mother, could be a daughter, could be a father, son, anything. We live in a society, we have multiple relations, and we cannot say that only because I'm a teacher, I'll just focus on this. We have to take care of so many things. In the pandemic, nothing is sure. You don't know whose family member has fallen sick, what is the financial condition of that person. Everything is a question mark, everything is uncertainty. What that person was doing, just before the lockdown, now what is the situation at home, what about his or her kids, parents, so many questions arises. So what I would urge all the institutes, just reduce the burnout on the teachers. Like, there should be some kind of boundary is missing. Boundary is missing these days, because things are online. So we feel the person is at home. Okay, so person is definitely at home, but person is home and having multiple things to do. Previously, you used to see the family members going out. Now they are also at home. And if you are a mother, then you are any female person, you have to take care of the family members. I don't say that the males doesn't take care, but yeah, definitely they also, these days everyone is working together. But still, greater onus is on the mother. So you have to take care of each member in your household, and again attend, sometimes meetings. The meetings and all these things, they could be called during the duration, like offline duration, whatever was that of the school or the institute, whatever it was. You could do it that time instead of burdening the teachers more. Because yeah, really we are stressed out. We also need a vacation. Even sitting for hours in front of the screen, it's even, is exhausting. We're getting backaches, headaches, so many things even we are getting. And because of stress, you could see there's a mood fluctuation also. Because there are different institutes, you could see that there is a salary slash, or there is again an uncertainty. Now, how long I can continue? So many things
Not
are
only
happening.
that,
So
ma'am, not only that, even we as parents, we also have very, very bad mood swings.
yes, yes. Right. So because of the stress, because the external environment has changed so drastically, we can't go out. You just imagine that. Even opening the main door is you 10 times you're going to think, should I open, should I not open, should I go or should I not go? Right. So that is adding on to our stress. So what I would suggest to each one, that you do spend some time with yourself. That is very much required. Self-care is very, very essential in these days. If you don't take self-care, then it becomes, we experience this burnout. We have to understand why it happened, how it happened, and how it will go ahead. So that's what I was just telling, like you sit, you reflect for a while, that is a time you keep aside for yourself. If it is not possible each day you are doing, do it on alternate days. Do whatever is your passion, try to follow your passion, even if it is for half an hour a day, you try and do that will ease off your stress. We have to understand the external surrounding is not going to change so soon. And by external, I don't only mean corona, but corona related all kind of effects that we are experiencing. There would be families where the corona didn't touch physically, but emotionally, mentally, and financially, it could have just created havoc, could have devastated many families. So stress will be there in our lives. And if we see, if we even remember, if you could think that what is written in Bhagavad Gita, they say that your work is to just do the work. Don't think of the fruit that is you're going to reap. You just do your work. Keep on doing. Don't expect. So we have to stop our expectation. Accept. Very important is accept. This has already happened. Now, why it has happened? Why someone fell ill? Why this virus was bombarded on the earth? And why so much? Why the people didn't take care and all? Now we should not think of that. What we can do right now. That is very important. So we should reflect on ourselves. There are a lot of possibilities we can do to heal ourselves, to take care of ourselves. Self-care is very important as parents, as students, as lecturers, whoever are there for each one of us, people going to office, whoever they are. So it is very important that we take care of our own selves. Yeah, being in family, there are two things can happen. There could be, initially what it was that, after a long time we got to see our family together. But now gradually it is now disappearing, because like again, life is monotonous. Each person is having their own stress. So if we could find some time for our own selves, like it could be meditating, it could be gardening, it could be, as I told you, just gazing out, listening to some music, doing yoga, because physically fit also we need to be. So whatever you find interest, you're curious about, you just try and explore, keep some time for yourself. Definitely it's going to reduce a lot of your stress.
Definitely, ma'am. Ma'am, I think we should end the session now, because anytime the electricity is again the power is going to be off, because there is thunderstorm over here, and
Okay. Yeah.
we might have to just leave in between. So I think we will
Sure.
end the session over here. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, ma'am. I had a lot of questions lined up for you, but because of this, I need to just cut short this talk and move ahead with the just finishing it, ending the broadcast. But I would
Yeah.
have loved, we'll join in some other day, and definitely
Sure.
we'll have specifically a counseling session for people across.
Sure, you can have that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
Thank you so
already conducted workshops with my students. So, yeah, and the children, they say they are benefited. So, we could always do that.
Yeah, exactly. We can have various workshops for parents, for teachers, for students.
Sure, sure, we can.
Right, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. And I'm sorry we have to end the broadcast.
Yeah,
Thank you
yeah,
so much.
sure. No issues, no issues.
Good to have you on the show always.
Thank you.
So here we end our session today. Tomorrow we are going to have Miss Corey Berg from US. She will be sharing her views on early childhood, because early childhood education has really been impacted during this pandemic. Thank you so much and good night.